So, race 19 of the meeting, heat 6, the final heat for DD2, and let's have a look at your final starting grid for these drivers. On the front row, it's going to be Ville Villainen from Finland and defending champion from Belgium, Zonnebreugh on the front row. Second row, it's going to be Mick Knowlton and Janne Gussens, representing the Netherlands and Belgium. Matthias Lund from Denmark and Erasmus Vendelbo, his countryman, alongside him on row 3. Martin van Leeuwen, who's been absolutely dynamite in the wet this weekend so far, he's got Jakob Bezel alongside. Valtters Wiederis and Zenderua ran out the top 10, representing Latvia and Slovenia respectively. Hannes Bode and Florian Breitenbach make it an all-German row 6, with Aymeric Gerhardt from France and Germany's Oliver Breitenbach in row 7. Lukas Horstmann and Manuel Tenschert from Germany and Austria, that's row 8. And the 9th and final row comprising the 18-strong grid from the Netherlands, the 437 of Luc Schiepers and the 406 of France's Enzo Boulogne. The business end of Heats Day fast approaches, but it is the business end of the day for these drivers here. Schublak has taken a win. Villainen's been consistently within the top 6 for the majority of the day. But who is going to get the whole shot on the start? It's going to be a tough one. But who knows? We've seen it before. We saw Rudy Champion doing an electric start in the previous DD2 Masters race to get into the lead and start getting away and taking a victory. But this one is just to see who's going to be fighting with Glenn Van Parijs, Paolo Besoncenet, to name a few. You could probably put Hannes Morin in there. Mick Knowlton, let's see if he gets a good result here as well. He's been in the top 5 for the majority of the day. But your guess is as good as mine. What's going to happen here? Well, we will find out shortly, because we're coming to the end of the formation lap. A couple of stragglers at the back who need to catch up quickly. So the drivers now starting to slow. Villainen and Schublak controlling proceedings. It's down to them to get things underway as they now come through turn 12. They now will split and head into the tram lines for their final time today. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights out, we're racing. And textbook literally keeping the field, letting the field know that he was not napping. Villainen, Schublak. And Matthias Lund goes toe-to-toe with Mick Knowlton as Janne Gussens manages to get his way up into P3. Knowlton fighting with the back end of the cart going through turn 4. Matthias Lund has got ahead of him and round the outside. Now, who's that? Van Leeuwen again, and he's just hit the standing water puddle on the approach to the curbing for turn 6, heading onto the Europlan. As someone very sideways coming out of turn 6 onto the Europlan, the left rear wheel hit the curbing and the rear tyres spooled up and broke traction. But Schublak leading the way thus far. First lap, leaders now are on their way down towards turn 10. Some overtakes and attempted overtakes towards the back part of the field as they neatly tippy-toe their way through turn 10. As there is a move from Matthias Lund, I believe. Has he got past Ville Villainen? He has. Schublak leads after lap 1. Lund, Villainen, Gussens. Derua again up to P5, but that's quickly changed because of Martin van Leeuwen. And then Derua powers past on the inside of turn 2, which becomes the outside, heading into the approach onto turn 3. Another standing water puddle, this time hit on the inside of turn 4 by Van Leeuwen, but he keeps it planted. Mick Knowlton's dropped to 7th position. Jakob Bezel is closing in, or trying to close in on Mick Knowlton, and there's a bit of a gap between Bezel and Wiederis. Vendelbo down in 10th position. We saw some great battling between him and a few other drivers. Right, okay, first penalty issued. And Rasmus Vendelbo has just been given a 5-second time penalty for breaking formation and exiting the tram lines with all 4 wheels outside. So as soon as the lights go out, you can break formation. If you break it before then, race control will be on it rather rapidly, and their decisions are swift and concrete. So Zenderua started again in P10. As there is a bit of a move there from Mick Knowlton trying to go past Jakob Bezel. He got through on the inside of turn 2 and then through turn 3, tried to get the momentum carry, but couldn't get the traction down quick enough on that kart to slingshot his way past Jakob Bezel. But let's see if he gets a good run coming down the Europolaan. So head down there. And Van Leuven closing in on Zenderua in the braking zone for turn 7. So Villiainen rounding out the top 3. Yanni Gustens just behind as Zenderua and Martin Van Leuven trading positions once again. But Derua on that Intrepid chassis gets a good run coming out of turn 9. Has to back out of it before the approach into turn 10. But let's see if he gets a good run coming out of turn 11. As Villiainen's got a good run on Gustens. As Derua and Van Leuven nearly come to blows on the entrance into turn 12. And Derua mounts the curb, nearly mounts the back bumper. So 206 to the stewards immediately. 206 to the stewards immediately, please. So Jakob Bezel trying to keep on terms with Zenderua. Van Leuven trying to go up the inside of Villiainen, but the Finn not letting go of that position. But Van Leuven up the inside through turn 5. Neatly done by the Dutchman. Derua now factoring into this fight. And that's going to be for P4. Yanni Gustens has started to get a little bit of a breakaway, but not by much. As we approach 5.5 minutes to go, as there is a good move, nicely timed by Zenderua up the inside of Villiainen. Jakob Bezel and Mick Knowlton now closing in once again. And Villiainen, it's a difficult race for the Finn once again. He's started on pole position, and Schriblak again is pulling away. He's really got the measure of that Kart Republic chassis in the wet weather conditions. And his lead over Matthias Lund was just over 1 3/4 seconds last time around. Schriblak goes on to lap 5. But the battle between 6th, 7th and 8th, that's Derua, Villiainen. There goes Jakob Bezel up the inside through into turn 2. Villiainen tries to get the switchback, heading into turn 3. Bezel shuts the door. And now Mick Knowlton tries to get a good run coming out of turn 3 on Villiainen. That particular time, it wasn't enough. And it's exactly a repeat for Mick Knowlton as to what happened previously trying to get past Jakob Bezel. Because Bezel shut the door going through turn 2. Knowlton had a good run going to 3. Tried to do the switchback, and it didn't pay off for the Dutchman. But he closes up to Villiainen in the braking zone. As a little bit further back, Luc Schiepers up the inside of Amerique Guérin through turn 7. And Guérin, has a near tangle going through into turn 8 with Schiepers, but they both come out relatively unscathed. So Svididis and Oliver Breidenbach respectively ran out 15th and 14th positions. Schriblak has got a fastest lap, and it's a quick one. 1 minute 13.007. Fastest lap of the race on lap 5. Extends his gap to Matthias Lund and advantage to just over 3.5 seconds. Villiainen now is battling away with Mick Knowlton, and whilst they're battling away, Zenderua and Jakob Bezel have started pulling away. They're now going to try and see if they can get onto level peggings with Martin Van Leuven from the Netherlands. So Svidris gets past Oliver Breidenbach for 14th position on lap number 5. Getting a little bit darker here, but not enough to the point where the floodlights need to be put on here at the circuit. But the rain has been unrelenting all day long. And Villiainen, I don't think is out of the woods yet when it comes to him battling away with Mick Knowlton. That's for P7. Schiblak hurtles his way into turns 1 and 2, takes a wider line to get the cut through to hit the curbing on turn 2. And unfortunately, Florian Breidenbach, after lap 5, pulls the kart into the pit lane, the 413 from Germany. Now going to be the only retirement from this race. And that's so far with 2 minutes and 10 seconds plus 1 lap still to go. Schiblak's lead now 4 seconds. A further 3 back to Yanni Gussens. As Jakob Bezel, I have just noticed, has gone quicker by just over 1/10.5 on Zenderua. As now, Villiainen drifts wide going through turn 8. That nearly gave Knowlton an opportunity, front and centre. So now Zenderua, that's his second off-track excursion. Oh dear, the Slovenian backwards into the barriers, but the kart, he was still able to keep the engine firing on all 125 cc's. That's put him back behind Villiainen and Knowlton, and that means that that position for Villiainen and Knowlton to battle over now becomes 6th. So Florian Breidenbach, a confirmed retirement. The 413 from Germany. As Villiainen goes a little bit wide going through turn 5. Knowlton takes the tighter apex and again does so through turn 6. He looks a little bit closer this time, but the gap was about 4 kart lengths between the pair. Again, Knowlton good on the brakes, because what he's able to do is to stay with Villiainen, who is effectively his marker. So where Villiainen brakes, Knowlton might say, well, maybe I could brake 10 to 15 minutes later. But you have to factor in the wet weather conditions as well. Because over the course of the race, the track has been evolving in terms of how much water has been cast aside by the Mojo W5 wet weather tyres, and where is the surface water really a possibility of catching me out. As Martin van Leuven now is trying to close on Yanni Gussens. Another Maranello chassis has decided to pull the kart off the circuit and call it a day. Lukas Horstmann in the 412. So we are down to 16 drivers, as we have had 10 minutes now expire. That is it. After this one more lap remains. Lap 9 out of 10. So Zana Schiblak at the moment making his way through into the left-hand hairpin at turn 9. And his gap last time was 4.739 seconds over Denmark's Mathias Lund. As Van Leuven looking to try and go for a last-ditch attempt if he can. Well, he's got just under a lap and a half to do it. But they're under the same awning. So it will be a case that if it presents itself that a mistake is made by Yanni Gussens, Martin van Leuven will pounce convincingly and without a second thought. Last lap board is out as Van Leuven trying to carry the momentum through. That time around it didn't quite work for him on that particular occasion. And there is the leader going through turn 4, Zana Schiblak, based out of Genk, local to this circuit. And in Belgian media a few weeks ago, he said, well, the goal for me is Formula 1. And with drivers that have come and raced here, Max Verstappen, Jenson Button, to name but a few, have competed at the higher echelons of motorsport. The list is quite significant. Michael Schumacher, 7-time Formula 1 world champion, has raced here. Jenson Button even raced under GKS Lemons Power colours. Robin Freins, known through DTM and Formula E, and also the World Endurance Championship. He's running with Vincent Voss's outfit, Team WRT this season. So Shriblack has one more corner, checkered flag, being prepared, and another victory, a convincing one. Shriblack goes into tomorrow with 2 heat victories to his credit, and that's a perler for him. Matthias Lunder, solid second place for the Dane. As now, the run to the line, Martin van Looyen trying to get the upper hand on Yanni Gussens. Run to the line, and it was 68 thousandths. But Yanni Gussens beats teammate Martin van Looyen from the Netherlands for third place. Jakob Bezel rounds out the top 5. And Jakob Bezel started in P8. Van Looyen started P7. Yanni Gussens started in P4. Ville Viinainen started on pole position, but would finish 6th after that one. Mick Knowlton in 7th. Zenderua, I think probably not exactly going to be 100% happy about what's happened today, but that's 2 off-track excursions in 2 of the heats that he's had, and he's had a 3rd place finish. But we know how the pedigree of Zenderua is, that there are times when even drivers like him, they can make mistakes. It can be the weather conditions, or it might be an unforced error. But he finishes in P8. Luke Scheepers in 9th, ahead of Manuel Tencha. Rasmus Vendelbo, who gets a 5-second time penalty post-race for leaving the formation early with all 4 wheels out of the tram lines. And that is going to drop him down behind Amérique Guérin. Walter Zwiedris, Oliver Breidenbach, Hannes Border, and Enzo Boulogne ran out the 16 that finished the full 10 laps race distance. Lucas Horstmann retiring on lap 7, with Florian Breitenbach retiring on lap number 5.